Hey everybody, Father Bob here with my dog Arlo for the South Campus, another edition of the South Campus Show. Thanks for tuning in. Great week. We are kind of getting towards the end of summer, and I'm bummed because I love summer, but the weather's been spectacular, and they always say, let's start with gratitude. So I'm grateful for the weather. I'm just grateful for you tuning in. Hey, if you want a hot lead on something to watch, the website here, check out yesterday's prayer day with the Faith Formation team. They kind of wound up, they concluded their season, if you will, their spring season as we move into fall, and they had some fun with that. They call me in, I do what I'm told. It's crazy, it's fun. With a little message. That was cool. Thanks for tuning in today. Every so often I have a guest, and I mentioned last week we had a guest. We got one this week, and the reason I like having him around is I try to low-key this, but I'm from Edina, and this guy's from Edina, and there's kind of support, solidarity, knowing that we're both from Edina in a sort of non-friendly Edina zone here in Victoria. That's anyhow. He's from Edina and been out in this area for a long time. Got Theo Chalgren. He's on our parish staff team. Last couple years, it's been great to have him. But he's here. Welcome, Theo. Good to have you.
Thanks for having me, Father Bob.
You're welcome.
Or should I say Dick Cabot?
Dick Cabot or Johnny Carson or Merv Griffin, I don't know. Take your pick. But Theo, I remember you and Margaret joining with your then young family. I think it was about 97.
Yeah.
And the boys were mass servers and all of this, and and Madeline, little kid, and so forth. And then we had that connection. So we've been connected a long time. Then we had the connection, Edina to begin with. I find out you're from Edina, the Mainies and all this. But also with Holy Family, I remember as the boys got older, both quarterbacks at Holy Family, the football years, and some fun times there. And am I correct? Have you coached the freshman year, 1 year?
I did. I coached Jackson's freshman team, 9th grade, along with a gentleman named Brad Smith. His son Colton was on the team, and we had a blast. It was really fun.
Nice. So you kind of think of you as the Renaissance man. You've had your hand in many things, including coaching football. Tell me a little bit about your career. Like, I know you've done a number of things. All of you have that creative flair. Tell me kind of chronologically, college, into you, and then where'd you go from there?
Well, I went to the University of Minnesota, and I had a bunch of really good friends in my fraternity house. And one of them got a job cleaning cars out at Avis Rent-A-Car at the airport. And he was making some pretty good money. So a couple of us said, hey, can you get us a job? So at one point we had 9 really good friends out cleaning cars during college. And then one of my buddies left the car cleaning thing and went over to the car sales. He just started to sell cars. And the amount of money was astronomical to a college student. So I eventually followed that path out of college. And for what it's worth, I became the #1 car salesman for Avis in the world in 86. So it was really great because they had great cars, and they weren't like a regular car lot. It was really kind of a fun deal, but a lot of us were working out there.
Yeah.
From there,
you were an all-pro car salesman.
Yeah.
That's what I hear.
When I was a young guy, and then got into the insurance business because I was third-generation insurance person with my family, with my dad. But in 1998, I asked him if I could take the summer off because I had been asked to play the role of a giant oak tree in a Muppet-like setting for a show called Once Upon a Tree that was run by a local anchor, Colleen Needles, and her husband Tom Stewart, who had become friends of mine at St. John the Baptist in Excelsior.
Okay.
So I became this I was Oakley the tree, and I was surrounded by all these little creatures, and it was a teaching show and whatnot. And I never hung in the green room with all the cool puppeteers from Sesame Street that had come from New York. I actually sat and kind of watched the business of television. And long story short, it was a great show, won a lot of awards, but it was very expensive. And animation was on the way in, and puppet shows were on the way out. So Target was going to pay for the second round, but the check was literally in the mail, and it never came. So the show ended. But I never went back to the insurance world. I learned about lighting and audio and the technological nature of that, but more so content production. And so I actually created a documentary and took it to a Christian media house.
Yeah.
And as I'm editing, I find out that the guy who runs it is a very good storyteller and a very poor businessman. And so I said, look, I'll make you a trade. If you will teach me the technological part of this, I will teach you how to run a business. So I stayed there. It was called Mahoney Media. I was there for a couple of years until I was the only Catholic in a sea of evangelicals. And great, I said, we're all
good conversation.
We're praying for each other's conversions, right? So I went out on my own, and I started Honest to God Media because I was focused on bringing Christ to the public square through innovative media, not boring, typical boring news media. And I had a great run. I did that for, 14 years and loved it. And got involved in some things that weren't always, I did Norm Coleman's first Senate campaign, did the media for that, and did a couple other political things, and learned that that's not the atmosphere I want to be in. But I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done a lot of different things. I love the fact that I can be working at St. Victoria and still be able to do a couple of outside businesses. Yeah. So I've got some things going now too.
Wow. Yeah, you still have that entrepreneur spirit, and I remember with your own media production, doing a bit with you years ago.
Yeah.
Right here.
Still playing on EWTN. Still
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. That's some years ago. It was not Arlen, it was Betsy was with me. But Theo, you're a very humble guy. But getting back to Holy Family, you mentioned Tom Stewart. Tell us a little bit about the Holy Family story and your involvement in that. Because you don't say much, but when you look back, you are a founding father, part of that story. How'd that come about? The school? How did that school come about?
Well, I made the decision, Margaret and I made the decision to have Zach go to St. John the Baptist as a kindergartner. And there was something called the school committee. And again, I was in insurance at the time, and I thought, it sounds like a group that plans a picnic or something. Maybe I'll meet some people to sell insurance to. So I signed up for it and found out really it was the school board, and which was great. Great bunch of parents on that. And the second year I was there, they asked me to be the vice chair, and the following year the chair. And we had been a struggling school, trying to get the numbers up. And there was some talk about closing it. And we said, give us 3 years, we'll turn this thing around. And we did. And so it was a thriving school, and we decided we wanted to see if we could go from K-5 to K-8. So we went to a parish council meeting, and we got the approval to go K-8. And then as we're walking out, somebody said, no, we need a Catholic high school in this area. And the next week, I met with Tom Stewart and Rob Roy and Joe Morin, and we started the planning process for Holy Family Catholic High School. That was in '95. And I was the original chair for the first 2.5 years. At the time, we were the Southwest Metro Catholic High School project. And when we became Holy Family, then I became the vice chair as Rob went to the chair role. And I was on the board for 9.5 years. So it was a wonderful project, and it was it's great to see the fruit that's come from it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because when I got here, it was Southwest Metro, someday Catholic High School, and the Bongards being out at their farm, and that's where the high school now is. It's kind of like home plate at the mall, home plate from the old Met, and here's what it is. So it's just. But your role, leadership in making something good happen is just I'm very grateful to you and to the others that did the work, the gutsy work to, through the Spirit, make that whole dream come about. So Holy Family is a unique story because it's really lay people starting a Catholic school, without the bishop throwing the dart at the mat and saying we need something out here. It was sort of the grassroots up, totally the Spirit at work there.
He told us it was the first later in high school in the country, Catholic high school.
Yeah.
And it actually, after about 9.5 years, I wasn't around as much anymore, and my kids had gone through the school. You kind of follow your kids where they go on to college, but part of it was I was tired of people thanking me. Actually, Holy Family was the greatest gift for me because when I found myself as the chair with 12 pretty influential people around it, I realized they all had different slices of thought as to what it means to be Catholic. And that was really a turning point in my faith journey because I dove into it and I started thinking, okay, I got to get this figured out. I got to unify this vision or be a part of that. And I started reading the Catechism. I started reading from different Catholic mystics and theologians, and it really helped my journey quite a bit.
Beautiful. It's kind of like prayer. We all show up, and we bring who we are. We're all different. We got our ways, but it's connected with the Spirit and the heart that unites us all. Because we still have a lot of different Catholics in our parish, but we're like I think you said. It's like, what do we have in common? Let's start there, and we work together in our differences and so on, and that's amazing, and you see that all the time, but you do that well. Tell folks a little bit how you ended up at, well, first of all, I'm going to say you're an active parishioner for years. You taught as a confirmation leader for almost 20 years. This great rapport, this gift with young guys, a little small group. But tell the folks how you ended up now on the St. Victoria Parish team.
Sure. So I had at the time I had a couple of different businesses, and both of them were at a spot where I have really, really good partners. And in one, we were waiting for FDA approval for a product that we were working on, and another one, the timing was just right. And Margaret said, "Did you see this ad in the bulletin? They're looking for a youth formation leader." And I said, "Oh, that's nice." And then I started getting this tap, tap, tap. And I'd go back and I'd look at that bulletin and I'm thinking, interesting. It's part-time. And I prayed about it a little bit and I thought, I'm supposed to do this. It seems crazy, but I'm supposed to go do this. And so that's when I gave you guys a call and said, I'm feeling the tap here. And it was really great. Your guys' response was really, really cool. First, Dan and Emily met me. I remember Emily had a cold and she came to meet me, and we went down to a school wise, and they were saying, "Now, Theo, you're a teacher, a leader. This is the administration part. This is 80% doing the work and all that." So they're trying to warn me. And then Ray had words of wisdom, and you had you met with me, and so I thought, man, they're really taking me through this process here. But the tap and stay, and the rest is history. I loved it. I love the relational aspect of it. Yep, there's a ton of admin work that goes in, but I'm part of just an energetic, fantastic team that are dedicated for the right reasons. They want to connect young people to Christ and want to do it in innovative fashion. And so I'm proud to be part of that. And I love the mission trips. I love the relationships, and I've been able to form with some of the young people. I was doing it for so long. I was even back when we were doing guys and gals together in the same class, and so it's fun to be able to get to know both genders and whatnot. And there's great joy in meeting the families. So the moms and dads, you get really close to them, and it's just this ripple effect. If you can get a kid who's starting to figure out the God piece and is on fire, the next thing you see is all of a sudden his mom is coming to Mass with him, and maybe they weren't going before. And all of a sudden dad shows up. The next thing you know, mom is a confirmation leader. It's just super cool and super relational, and the Holy Spirit's in the midst of all of it.
It's a domino effect. Often we think of parents trying to get the teenagers to come to Mass. It's sometimes it's the opposite. It's
Absolutely.
the teenager inviting the parents to re-up, if you will.
We've seen it in a number of cases.
Yeah. Of course, and don't you love your part-time job? Oh my gosh. Wish we, it's how it is, but you guys are on fire and it shows, and I'm so very grateful. But Theo, thank you. Thank you for being part of our staff and our parish, and for taking a little time this morning. We always kind of end this thing up with a little question for the magic orange hat. We're gonna do this, and
it is magic. It's just floating
I know,
in the air.
thank you, Liz. And then it kind of goes, I go like this, and I go, oh, I can't read. I forgot. Can you read this? There, Theo, what do we
Well,
got?
let's see. I'm playing a little trombone myself, they say, right? What person from history would you have enjoyed knowing? Why?
Yep.
It would be cliche, but I would say Jesus. I would love to have been able to
Wow.
go have a glass of wine with Jesus and shoot the breeze. It'd be really cool.
And they just had water, he'd turn it into wine.
That's the deal. That's the guy you want to go with.
Hey, Theo, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Well, right now, this is Father Bob, my dog Arlo, from the South Campus. Have a blessed week. Hope to see you soon. Take care.